This is kind of crazy to say, but over 8 years ago, I was homeless because I didn't have a house to live in. Sometimes I'd live in Buena Park. Sometimes I'd live in Fullerton, California. Because I lived in my car, I'd often park overnight in a neighborhood. And the safest part of Orange County to me was in Cerritos. Hopefully a cop wouldn't wake me up, but there were times they did have to wake me up where I'd have to drive all the way to Fullerton and sleep in the parking lot of a Holiday Inn or Marriott. If you would have told me that I'd be where I am right now, I'd call you absolutely crazy. That I'd be the guy who would go from sleeping in his 2016 black Nissan Versa to soon purchasing my own house, having a full-time remote tech job. It still feels surreal. Here I am. This is my living room. Sometimes I still need to ask folks to pinch me because it feels almost unfair of how good I have it now compared to the rest of the world. But what kind of helps me overcome that feeling of it not being fair is that I remember the tough times. I remember no one cared when I was stuck living in my car during the hot summer in California. That no one cared I was struggling, and that's where I want to start. No one cares. One thing I've learned on this journey is that opportunities can come from the most unexpected places. For example, if you're into coding or web development, there's this amazing chance to showcase your skills and win big. It's called the Dev Hackathon, Reusable Creativity on Wix Studio, running from July 22nd to September 9th, 2024. Imagine packaging your UI and data into reusable, tradable assets. Whether you're a web or JavaScript developer, this is your chance to dive into Wix Studio and compete for a share of the $20,000 prize pool. So don't miss out on this. Head over to mergewebdev.com to sign up and get started. All right, enough of that. Now let's get back to my story. The moment my life began to change was when I realized this: I'm on my own and no one cares. And if I do nothing to get myself out of this rut, I will be stuck here forever. It's no one's job to get me out of the situation than myself. And if I don't want to live in my car for the rest of my life, I need to do something to get out of it. So I did what every person would do. I tried to do everything. I tried to become everything. I attempted to become a registered nurse 3 times, but dropped out of 5 different colleges trying to get into the program. I tried to become an electrical engineer, but failed the entrance exam for the journeyman school in Orange County. I had a customer service job. Then I moved up to sales, but no matter what, it didn't pay enough because it wasn't in tech. Nothing seemed to work until I tried to learn how to code. And even when it came to coding, believe it or not, I failed at first. I gave up after learning how to code for the first time. I always share what happened after I learned code the second time. But when I tried to learn code for the first time, I hated it. I felt lost and gave up because no one was guiding me. There's no one that can go to guide me, hence why I started my YouTube channel. And so I felt lost and I gave up until I saw this video by Bill Gates and will.i.am and Chris Bosh from the NBA on how anyone can be a developer, that you don't need to be super book smart to do it. So then, after watching this video 3 months after giving up, I decided to learn code again. I gave learning how to code another shot. And 3 months after learning how to code the second time, I finally got my first tech job, paying me $45,000 a year in 2017. Now, please note, before this, I was making around $28,000 a year. So this was a $17,000 pay bump for me, technically life-changing at the time. Now, you might be wondering how I went from making $45,000 a year to now making over $200,000 a year. What is my secret? Unintentionally job hopping. Let me explain. So after working on my first junior developer job for 2 years, I asked to get a pay increase. Okay, I've been here for 2 years and I know I'm being underpaid compared to the market. I want to get a pay bump from $45,000 a year to $70,000 a year. But they wouldn't give it to me. They constantly say, Chris, let's talk about it in 3 months. Let's talk about it 6 months. Let's talk about it next year. I realized after a couple of months, okay, this isn't actually gonna happen. They're never gonna give me the pay increase. So then what? I went to find another job. And that is when I received a job offer from entrepreneur.com of $70,000 a year. And even after receiving this new job offer, my previous company would still not give me the pay increase I want. They were only willing to match this new job offer up to $60,000 a year. So obviously I left. The point though is this: if I didn't move on from the last job, I would have almost never received a pay increase, stuck making $45,000 a year to this day. So then I'm at this new job, entrepreneur.com, for 2 years. Then the pandemic came. Then I was laid off. which in result led me to unintentionally job hop, right? Like I wasn't intending to jump to a new job, because if they have never laid me off, I would have remained there to be honest to this day, because it was such a great company to work for. I had a great manager, great colleagues. And then that's when I landed my first big tech job at New Relic, which paid me a base salary of $160,000 a year, plus a $23,000 annual bonus, totaling up to $183,000 a year. And so when I really think about it, again, if I wasn't laid off during the pandemic, I'd probably be stuck making around 80 to 90K a year, not making double that at New Relic. And so because I was laid off and unintentionally had to job hop to another job, I got a job paying me more than 200% what I used to make. Then after almost a year at New Relic, I moved on to another job at Airbyte. Airbyte paid me $200,000 a year base salary plus $50,000 per year in options. But after only a year and I think 9 to 10 months at Airbyte, I was laid off again. This sucked. Why? Because after being laid off for 9 months, I couldn't find a really good job offer. I had job offers from companies that were willing to pay me $120,000 a year, another one $130,000 a year, but it just wasn't worth it for me because these companies also wanted me to move across the country or back to San Francisco for these roles. And so for 9 months, I was trying to find a new job until last month. Last month, I received multiple job offers and one that would pay me even more than what I made in my last tech job. And this one will allow me to work from home and will let me continue doing what I love to do, which is code. So the moral of the story is this. If I stayed at one job for the rest of my life, yes, you would gradually get pay increases here and there, but my salary, your salary, most likely would have never have reached its full potential by job hopping. Why? Because that's when companies are willing to pay you more, is when they need to take you away from another company, when they see that what you have is valuable and they want you as an asset to help the company grow. But if you remain at the same company, they will take you for granted and they will eventually, most likely, lay you off, leaving you in the dirt. So how did I go from homeless to making over 200K a year? By moving jobs every couple of years, never settling, and always growing my technical skills as well. Anyway, that's the video. I hope y'all like it. Let me know y'all thoughts and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.